Hi guys, welcome to the gun shop, and today you're with me, John, and we're discussing how to choose your first game gun. So, a game gun primarily designed to shoot game, driven game, walked up game, but we're going to really look at picking a driven pheasant gun here, a driven game gun. I'm going to discuss some of the factors. So, your first choice really is to choose between a side-by-side and an over and under. We have done a side-by-side versus over and under video, we're going to go over that very quickly again now. A side-by-side, two barrels like that, a bit of a different sighting plane, a scalloped rib, a lot lighter. The traditional option really, they are the traditional option. A lot more character, a lot more hand built, generally if you're going for something old, however there's a lot of modern variants about. Or over and under. Over and under, barrels like that. Essentially, they've only been accepted in the last few years really, but that's because up until 50 years ago really, they weren't a popular thing. They were still refining what was about, and with clay shooting the way it is, that's just the way the market's gone. However, they've been acceptable on game shoots for a long time, but only high-end ones. You've got to think that the reason they are accepted, I suppose, in reality, is the only argument is they're like a side-by-side turned that way. And that's that. That's as much as I can give as an argument on that as to why they are now accepted, as much as the obvious things. Clay shooting is now the way people get into the sport. Over-underers are better for clay shooting, over-underers are easier to shoot. Over-underers are more available, over-underers are harder, over-underers give less recoil, there's a lot more options, new guns, so on and so forth. And obviously there is an option for semi-automatics, but we're not going to discuss that today because I do not believe, and I'll get in trouble for saying this, I'm sure people will call me a gun snob, in England, UK, driven shooting, you should never shoot a semi-automatic. Reasons for this: tradition. Tradition dictates that we do not use a semi-automatic. They're a bit uncouth, they're a bit loud and a bit unnecessary when it comes into the side-by-side and over and under market of game shooting. Two shots, sportsmanlike, and most importantly, these things break. Everyone will say, oh yeah, but you stand like that all day long with your over and under, that's unsafe. But at the end of a drive, I can walk around with my gun like that. And I know you can put a big breech flag and stuff in, but there is a certain safety concern there, although I don't believe that is genuinely the reason. There is a level of snobbishness that goes in, the reason that we do not shoot semi-automatics again. But I appreciate that, I like that, I like the snobbishness in that department. It's the same reason that I wear tweed when I go game shooting, same reason people dress up, same reason you wear a shirt and a tie. It's out of respect for the game, respect for tradition. But this isn't a video about why you shouldn't use semi-automatics on game, because everyone would hate me for it. So, but please bear in mind, if you're not from England, that's just the way we do things, and please bear in mind if you are from England, and if you want to take semi-automatics and shoot game, feel free, you do that. I'm not here to judge, but don't do it with me, because I'll have a couple of slow gins and tell you my thoughts on the subject, which will be slightly better thought out, and slightly more slow gin driven post-shoot day. But that's fine. So, given we have chosen between your over and under and side by side, there's a lot of factors you want to consider when you're getting your first game gun. So, first is weight. Depending on what you're going to do, you know, if you've got a loader to carry it around for your day, get the heaviest one you can. But no, given what you're going to do, you have to think about the weight. For around here and sort of normal birds, you don't need big, heavy, stonky cartridges. Weight isn't just about carrying, weight is actually all about recoil as well. You've got to think a lighter gun kicks more, a heavy gun kicks less. So if you're going to be shooting 36 grams at these poor 25-yard partridge, well, I'd probably go with an over and under. But if you are actually going to shoot silly high birds, proper high pheasants, you really don't have a lot of choice but to get one of these. They're more consistent, they're more smooth, and they kick less. It's the barrels that do it for you. You can get all these marvellous technologies inside new barrels that are designed for these big cartridges, and you can get all sorts of different guns with different barrels and different chokes and such, and you can actually find a gun that kicks very little with heavy cartridges and yet still patterns and performs. There you go. And that's why you can go one of these in that department. However, if you're shooting locally, then if you're shooting and doing a lot of walking, you cannot beat one of these. Obviously weight can be lost out of an over and under in a 20 ball, which is why they're so popular. You get all of those lightweight benefits of this with all the shootability benefits of an over and under. Like it or not, an over and under is slightly easier to shoot. Watch the video on that and let me know your thoughts. They're just a little bit more, less natural, but easier to get your head around, if that makes sense. gun fit with a game gun. Generally a bit shorter than your sporter. This is because firstly you're going to be wearing more clothes, generally speaking. Game season is all in the winter, so it's going to be cold, so you're going to be wearing a few more layers than you might be on a playground. Secondly, there's no guarantee of you being over here taking pheasants like this. The chances are you'll be taking them over like that, and in all sorts of exotic and very nice styles, I suppose, but it's not all textbook stuff. As such, you need a gun you can really get a hold of, that's not going to be too long, that you can throw around and command that little bit easier perhaps than you could a sporter. What you're really trying to build up is the ability to shoot consistently whilst mounting inconsistently. And that's a lot of it. There's excitement, there's speed, there's a lack of calculation perhaps with a lot of game shooting. Not all the time, obviously you can sit there and just take those birds all day long, but the chances are there will be something spinning around shooting it over the back, and you'll need a shorter gun to actually be able to do that. Again, the world is a bit different in the high pheasant market, as you do want something a little bit more sporter-esque, more consistent that you can get on, find the line, and you'll find that that is a much smoother way of shooting for that. However, it's horses for courses. That's it. Looks-wise, generally speaking, not too much vibrant colour. And by that I mean big extended chokes, probably a little bit uncouth if you're going to go game shooting. By all means, don't let it stop you from buying a gun with extended chokes. If you like it and it fits and it's a nice gun, but buy some internals for it, for God's sake. That would be a very good idea. Fixed choke would solve that problem as well. We will not get into that. Secondly, you'll notice on the game guns you have the options of slightly longer grip. That goes with the shortness of the gun. That sort of same instinctive style is helped with the short stock, a little bit more cast and a little bit more drop, so you can afford to shoot in a slightly more open style as opposed to sort of shooting in a much more aggressive style. Not to say you can't shoot game in either way, it's just an observation. So, looks, they generally have game scene engraving, entirely unnecessary. However, when you actually sit around at 11s chatting about your guns with your neighbour, it's nice to have something nice to talk about. People are judgmental, people are snobs, and you know what? If your gun looks nice, it's something to talk about. It's something you can have pride in. You should be in love with your game gun. You should be in love with your game gun. In conclusion, it doesn't really matter what you get. Because there's so many different varieties of game shooting, you just need to find a gun that suits. Or maybe 2, or maybe 3, or maybe 4, and so on and so forth. It doesn't really matter. As long as you're in love with the gun that you have for game shooting, I think that's what the important thing is. That it has more of a game style fit is certainly a benefit. However, if you shoot 2 days at game a year and shoot your clays the rest, perhaps don't change for those 2 days. That would be an intelligent option, generally speaking. You don't want to go out with your gun and go, well, this is my game fitted gun, I love this gun, and go out and go, and miss absolutely everything. I'd hate for you to do that, that would be really bad.
Have a look at those.
Pick something nice, pick something pretty,